During the economic collapse known as the Great Depression of 2026, desperation spreads like wildfire across the United States. To stimulate what little remains of the economy, California launches the Grand Lottery, a ruthless game with one simple rule. If someone murders the winner before sundown, they can legally claim the jackpot. The only catch: no bullets allowed. By 2030, the lottery has become a twisted part of everyday life. In Los Angeles, a man named Sean becomes the latest winner. But the celebration is short-lived. Almost immediately, Sean finds himself being hunted down by a bloodthirsty crowd, eager to claim the prize attached to his death. Unfazed, Sean fights back with brutal efficiency, knocking down anyone who gets close before leaping over a fence to escape. Needing cover, Sean breaks into a stranger's home through the window and startles an elderly woman sitting inside. Without hesitation, he grabs her phone and smashes it, cutting off any chance of her alerting the public. But outside, a government surveillance drone is already watching, capturing everything. As Sean tries to catch his breath, the woman suddenly reveals her own Grand Lottery bolt gun and fires, killing him instantly. She breaks her ticket in half to notify the authorities. Within minutes, an official lottery team storms the house, confirms Sean is dead, and hands her a massive check for $22 million. She appears on national TV that evening, smiling for the cameras as the newest winner. 1 month later, Katie arrives in Los Angeles, hoping to revive her stalled acting career. On the bus ride into the city, she clutches a small Oscar keychain in her hand, a symbol of dreams she hasn't yet let go. A little girl nearby watches her curiously, so Katie makes funny faces to cheer her up. But the girl's father is too busy mocking his daughter over the phone to notice. Katie moves over, pretends to be a cop, and threatens to call social services unless he treats his daughter better. The man quickly changes his tone, and as he does, an old woman walks over to thank Katie for stepping in. It isn't until moments later that Katie realizes the woman pickpocketed her and stole her watch. Outside the bus window, signs for Lewis Protection Agency advertise private bodyguards for hire. Katie stares at the ad, wishing she had people like that on her side. The streets of LA pass by, filled with tension and open hostility. Everywhere she looks, people seem either terrified or angry, or both. Meanwhile, media coverage of the upcoming lottery reaches a fever pitch. The next draw is less than 18 hours away, and ticket sales are breaking records. The jackpot now stands at an unprecedented $3.6 billion. Back at his home, a man named Noel prepares for the chaos by checking his non-bullet weapons while humming the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme. Katie eventually reaches the room she's rented online, only to find it nothing like the listing. Her new roommate, Shadi, had completely lied about the condition of the place. The apartment is a disaster. Worse still, Shadi herself is loud and obnoxious, leaving strange pictures of herself in Katie's room and making crude jokes. She constantly ignores calls from her well-meaning mother, and to make things even more unbearable, her boyfriend DJ treats Katie like a joke, slapping her in the face as a prank when he hands her the house keys. The next morning, Noel appears on television offering his services as a personal bodyguard for whoever wins the next lottery. Katie wakes up to a different kind of crisis. The bathroom upstairs is flooded through the ceiling, drenching her clothes just hours before her audition. Furious, she calls Shadi to complain, but Shadi is as useless as ever, offering to rent Katie her own clothes instead of helping. Katie has no choice but to burn through her savings on a last-minute outfit, ill-fitting and overpriced, and then hail a cab because she is already running late. The driver peppers her with crude remarks and celebrity gossip, even mentioning that rapper Machine Gun Kelly supposedly built his own bunker for lottery season. At the audition venue, an employee demands a $400 fee just to participate. When her turn comes, Katie explains she once appeared in numerous television ads as a child, paused her career to care for her ailing mother, and decided to return to acting after her mother's death. Reaching into her pocket for monologue notes, she accidentally presses her thumb onto Shadi's lottery ticket. The ticket activates, takes her photo, and officially registers her as a player. Katie shoves it away and begins her performance, but the panel dislikes her immediately and send her out. In the corridor, other actresses offer sympathy, until every lottery ticket in the hallway lights up, announcing Katie as the new winner and displaying her face. Their demeanors shift at once. They grab whatever they can, props, chairs, some even brandish knives, and charge. Staff members join the attack. Drawing on stage combat classes, Katie blocks blows and dodges a flying shoe, then dashes for the stairwell, baffled by the sudden violence. On the next floor, she slips into a room to hide, only to discover a self-defense class in progress. These participants also recognize her as my jackpot and rush her. She darts between them, causing several to collide with each other, but one attacker lands a punch and seizes her by the ankles. He spins her and hurls her through a thin wall, launching her into an adjacent yoga session. Chaos erupts as the self-defense fighters pour through the breach. Blood begins to spatter across mats. A heavy-set man clamps a hand around her throat. Then a hole bursts open in the ceiling. Noelle drops into the fray, flings the man aside, and announces Katie receives 5 free rescues, after which his protection will cost 10% of her prize. Counting each adversary he disables, he quickly reaches the end of the complimentary saves, and Katie signs his contract under duress. Now fighting in earnest, Noelle barrels through the crowd, at one point swinging Katie like a battering ram, and then lashing out with a belt used as an improvised whip while she is strapped to his back. Once every attacker lies unconscious, Katie wriggles free and grabs Noelle's paralysis dart gun. He retrieves it without effort, then carefully rolls each fallen body onto its side so none will choke. Outside, the lottery drone hovers. Noelle explains it broadcasts the winner's location every 14 minutes. They have no time to waste. It is already counting down to the next alert. As they dash out of the building, Noelle quickly reminds Katie of one important rule. Participants can't kill each other, only the jackpot holder. It's supposed to be a fair hunt, but it doesn't stop people from getting creative. A nearby food truck, someone hurls a knife at Katie. Noelle grabs her and yanks her out of the way just in time before they dive into his car and speed off. As they drive through the chaotic streets of Los Angeles, the lottery alert goes out again. Katie's location is now public. Pedestrians drop everything to join the chase. Even an ice cream truck full of kids is abandoned by the vendor, and that sweet old lady Katie met on the bus. She's now armed with a grand lottery bolt gun and ready to cash in. Inside the car, Noelle finally explains the rules of the lottery, baffled that Katie didn't already know. Katie, clearly overwhelmed, says she and her mom never watched the news. They stuck to movies and baking shows. News was too depressing, and now she's in the middle of the most dangerous game on Earth. Suddenly, bikers and people on ATVs begin to swarm around them. Noelle tosses Katie a helmet, puts one on himself, and floors the gas. A Molotov cocktail lands on the car roof, catching fire. But Noelle doesn't flinch. He just keeps driving until the wind from their speed helps put out the flames. He swerves into an old warehouse to escape, skidding to a dramatic stop before spinning the car around, just in time for a biker to slam into the hood. But there's no time to celebrate. More bikers are right behind them and set more fires inside the warehouse. Katie, panicking, pleads with Noelle to help her quit. He tells her the only way to do that is by crossing a city boundary and reaching a designated quit line. One attacker charges forward. Noelle hits him with a dart. More objects start flying their way as enemies pelt the car with bricks and bottles. Thinking quickly, Noelle starts driving in circles, kicking up a cloud of dust and debris. The confusion lets them quietly push the car to safety and escape unnoticed, at least until another Molotov explodes behind them. Katie begs again to quit, and Noelle finally agrees to take her to the nearest quit line. But just then, the bikers catch up and the chase reignites. One enemy leaps onto the back of their car and crashes through the rear window. Katie wrestles a knife from the attacker while Noelle arms himself with more darts. But the woman clamps down and bites him. Wincing, Noelle grabs the side mirror and clocks her with it. Then, ignoring Katie's protest that she can't drive, he throws her into the front seat and climbs into the back to keep fighting. Strapping an extra helmet onto the attacker's head, he kicks her out the back. Another Molotov is thrown their way. Noelle shouts for Katie to drive, straight through a wall. They crash into the open, dodging debris and chaos. One biker swerves to avoid them and crashes into another vehicle. Katie manages to knock out a second attacker with her helmet. But the victory is short-lived. Their car, battered and flaming, breaks down completely. Katie bolts out and runs, desperate for freedom. But Noelle grabs her before she gets too far. He tells her he won't get paid if she quits, But still, he wants to help her. Treat people how you want to be treated, he says, sincere despite the chaos. Katie's reply? A fistful of sand in his eyes, followed by a solid punch to his face. As Noel stumbles back, he calmly cracks his nose back into place. Just as things couldn't get worse, a police car shows up. Katie runs toward it, begging for help. But the officers pull out their weapons, ready to kill her too. Noel appears just in time, catching one of their tasers midair and jumping into the fight. Katie uses the chance to run. Out on the street, she hides her face behind a tourist map, trying to blend into the crowd. But the lottery drone is already hovering overhead, and the people around her notice. They start looking, scanning faces. Katie ducks into a nearby wax museum, hoping for cover. Inside, she's shocked when the museum guard doesn't attack. He's anti-lottery, and he agrees to help, letting her hide among the wax figures. While crouched between the statues, Katie makes a quick call to Shadi, asking to borrow her car. But Shadi keeps pressing her for her location. That's when Katie realizes Shadi is playing the game too. At that exact moment, a wax statue springs to life with a recorded greeting, loudly welcoming her to the museum and giving away her position. Outside, Shadi and DJ arrive and try to get in, but the guard blocks them. He reminds them they were banned for doing the dirty with a statue. Shadi doesn't care. She punches him out cold, and the couple rushes in. Katie hears them coming and hides behind another statue, but when she tries to sneak away, DJ spots her. He slams her onto a desk. Katie fights back, throwing a bottle straight at Shadi's head, then tossing sand into DJ's eyes. They don't go down easy. The couple attacks together, and Katie grabs a statue's staff to defend herself. She sees an opening and tries to run, but Shadi kicks her hard, knocking the staff from her hands. In the next room, Shadi and DJ beat her down with the broken halves of the staff. Katie grabs nearby wax figures to fight back, chucking one she thinks is Cher. It's actually a Kardashian. They keep fighting into the horror section of the museum, grabbing whatever props they can find. It's chaos, movie costumes, fake weapons, everything gets used. Katie makes it to the next room, just as Shadi hurls an axe. It hits her, but it's a prop, harmless. Katie slams a button to lower the museum shutter. Then she remembers what Noel taught her, to position unconscious bodies so they don't choke. She props the guard's head up, then rolls out of the museum just as the shutter closes, locking Shadi and DJ inside. A nearby tour bus guide spots her instantly and announces her location over the microphone. The crowd reacts, ready to strike. But before they can reach her, a police car pulls up. Noel's driving. He grabs Katie and gets her inside. Even now, Katie's unsure. She still doesn't trust him. Helping her quit means he gets nothing, so she thinks maybe he's planning to kill her quietly. As the tour bus keeps ramming into the back of the car, Noel mutters that he wishes they had a bunker. That's when Katie suddenly remembers the taxi driver. Soon, the duo shows up at Machine Gun Kelly's house. When Katie asks for help, Kelly misunderstands and thinks she's asking for something inappropriate. Right at that moment, the tour bus appears outside. Katie grabs Noel's dart gun and forces Kelly to open his panic room. They rush inside, and Katie quickly shoots Kelly with a dart to put him to sleep before trying to shut the heavy door. A crowd begins to gather in the living room, and as they try to seal the door, someone wedges an arm through the gap. Noel prepares to shoot it, but Katie, thinking he's about to turn on her, grabs the gun and shoots the dart herself, hitting the arm and finally getting the door shut for good. The panic room is well equipped, and they watch the situation unfold on a security camera. Still suspicious, Katie keeps the gun trained on Noel. Trying to ease the tension, he sits beside her and begins sharing random sweet facts about himself to show he's harmless. While they talk, Katie's little Oscar keychain falls from her pocket. When Noel comments on how cool it looks, Katie finally opens up. She explains that she became an actress for her mom, who loved movies and celebrities. Her mom had always warned her about how toxic Hollywood could be and gave her that keychain as a reminder that she'd be proud of her no matter what happened. Katie had actually made good money as a child actor, but her dad ended up running away with all of it. Moved by the story, Noel responds with warmth and empathy, and Katie finally gives him back the dart gun. Curious about his motives, she asks why he's even helping her if it means he doesn't get paid. Noel answers honestly. His top priority is saving people's lives, and the second is making enough money to keep doing just that. Meanwhile, outside, the angry mob keeps pounding on the panic room door. Shadi, in a desperate attempt to wake up Kelly, slaps him, but when that doesn't work, she drags him into the pool and threatens him until he finally gives up the password. A ridiculous meme code, 6969. Watching this from the monitors, Noel groans in frustration. He realizes there's no other choice now. He has to make a call and cash in a favor. He calls in a phone strike, then grabs Katie's phone and locks it in a secure safe. As the crowd begins to input the password, Noel and Katie brace against the door. Suddenly, everyone's phones begin ringing at once with an Amber Alert. But it's a trap. The phones start exploding in people's hands and pockets, leaving them screaming with burns and injuries. With the chaos outside, Katie and Noel finally step out to make their escape. Noel even takes a second to extinguish the flames on someone's groin before they move on. Outside, they're met by a line of guards equipped with bulletproof vehicles and rubber bullet guns. The team is only there to pick up Katie, but she insists they bring Noel too. During the ride, she asks Noel if he works with these people. He explains that he used to, but now he's a freelancer. Soon, they arrive at headquarters where Katie is introduced to Lewis, the owner of the security company. But Katie isn't impressed. She immediately picks up on Lewis' smug attitude and his constant mocking of Noel. She asks to be taken out of the city, but instead, Lewis hands her a brand new phone and reminds her she's now in the safest building in the country. Lewis casually reveals the grenades he keeps in his pocket. With only 4 game hours remaining, he leads Katie and Noel on a quick tour, stopping at a wall of anonymous winners the company once protected, though he admits they haven't had clients in a while. Protection comes at a fee of 30% of the jackpot. Katie signs, but only after Lewis agrees that a portion of that cut will go to Noel. Security cameras show a crowd massing outside, so Lewis plans to move Katie to a hidden underground fortress using decoy vehicles. First, medical staff treat their cuts and bruises. While they're bandaged, Noel opens up about his past. He and Lewis once worked as mercenaries for a private contractor, traveling the globe to eliminate so-called bad guys. One mission changed everything. Noel discovered their targets weren't always evil. He quit mid-operation, the job collapsed, and only he and Lewis made it out alive. Now every dollar Noel earns goes to the families of people hurt by that life. Katie shares her own history. Her father was her manager from the age of 8, forcing her to work nonstop in commercials and shows. When she turned 18 and asked to control her earnings, he disappeared with all of it. Afterward, she cared for her ailing mother, who died a month ago and left her nothing but $600 and a bus ticket to LA. An employee wheels in a prosthetic machine. Katie sits, and it applies a lifelike mask that makes her resemble an elderly man. Yet Noel grows uneasy. Moving Katie doesn't add up. A facility this elaborate couldn't survive on 30% of old jackpots, especially with no recent clients. When Katie finishes changing into clothes that suit the disguise, Noel realizes Lewis's true plan: pretend to protect winners, then kill them in secret. Lewis escorts them toward a vehicle. Katie keeps insisting Noel ride along, but Lewis refuses. Desperate, Katie kicks Lewis in the groin. Noel uses the moment to hit the garage door control and fire tranquilizer darts at the guards. A surging crowd spills into the garage, but doesn't recognize Katie in her disguise. Noel thrusts a stolen key card into her hand and tells her to run while he holds everyone off. More guards rush in and pin Noel to the ground while Lewis kicks him, demanding to know where Katie went. At that moment, the AI-controlled decoy cars in the garage all roar to life. Katie is hiding in one of them. Seeing the convoy pull out, Lewis orders his people to pursue. Downtown, Katie peels off her mask and slides into the driver's seat. Taking manual control triggers an alert in Lewis's tracking system. At the same time, social media feeds explode. The lottery drone has lost the winner. If Katie avoids mistakes, she'll stay hidden until the game ends. Online, strangers start cheering her on, hailing her as a symbol of hope. She is nearly out of the city limits when her phone rings. It's Lewis, holding the line open so she can hear him stabbing Noel. Noel gasps and tells her to keep going, but Lewis threatens to kill him unless she turns around. After a moment's torment, Katie spins the car and heads back, agreeing to meet. Lewis drags the bleeding Noel to an abandoned theater. He admits he always knew their mercenary missions targeted civilians. He simply didn't care because the money was easy. He also confesses that he murdered their team and framed Noelle because he hates sharing profits. With 15 minutes of game time left, Katie retrieves a bolt gun from the glove box and storms into the theater. On stage, she confronts Lewis, threatening to shoot herself so no one claims the jackpot. Lewis doubts she'll do it, so Katie says he plans to kill her anyway. She starts a live social media stream, telling viewers that if she dies, forensic evidence will implicate Lewis. As she rants about the wreckage of her life, she looks ready to pull the trigger. At last, Lewis panics, tosses her the handcuff keys, and begs for a deal. Katie pretends to hand him the gun, then kicks him off the stage. She was acting the whole time. With Lewis down, the other players pour into the theater. Every person Katie encountered that day rushes the entrances. She hurls props and sandbags to slow them. Suddenly, Lewis grabs her ankle, yanking her to the floor and trying to finish her off. A police officer intervenes, but Lewis knocks him aside and keeps after Katie. Just then, the crowd surges in. Still chained to a chair, Noelle fights them anyway, belting out the Ninja Turtles theme while swinging the chair like a weapon until it breaks apart, freeing him. Katie bites Lewis, wrests the gun away, and tosses the handcuff keys to Noelle, who unlocks himself at last. While Noelle is locked in brutal hand-to-hand combat with Lewis, Shotty suddenly bursts onto the scene wielding a katana. She charges at Katie, but Katie manages to disarm her with a quick block and lands a headbutt that knocks Shotty out cold. Only 4 minutes remain in the game when a massive crowd storms into the theater. The chaos intensifies. Noelle continues grappling with Lewis while Katie scrambles up the stage rigging to stay out of reach. Down below, Lewis snatches an axe from another player. Noelle arms himself with a pair of cymbals, using them as shields and striking weapons, somehow managing to outfight Lewis and finally take him down. Meanwhile, the woman from the tour bus tries to climb up after Katie. Katie kicks her off the structure without hesitation. Seeing the mob starting to follow her path, Noelle starts tearing apart the scaffolding to stop them. Lewis reinforcements arrive, and while half of them pin Noelle down, the others form a human staircase to help Lewis ascend the rigging. Lewis reaches Katie near the top. They clash fiercely on the narrow beams until Katie slips and dangles over the edge. As Lewis closes in, Katie smiles. She's used her Oscar keychain to pull the pin on one of the grenades in Lewis' pocket. The explosion takes him out instantly. Katie falls, but before she hits the ground, a group of her fans catches her in a giant flag. With the final second of the game ticking down, Katie and Noelle reunite in a relieved embrace. She promises to give him half of the prize money. The Grand Lottery agents arrive to deliver the check, but Katie declares that she no longer wants to pursue acting. 6 months later, Katie and Noelle have teamed up to launch a string of charitable organizations, a free protection agency, a self-defense and stage combat school, and a support center for kids from broken homes. Noelle also tries to open a Ninja Turtles-themed pizza restaurant, but gets slapped with a copyright lawsuit. Still, life is good. The duo sails away for a well-earned vacation on their own super yacht. Finally at peace.